What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the JuiceBox presented by LOCKCITY. You got Whitey here today. Happy Tuesday. Hopefully everyone's still having a good start to the week and that the major hasn't been too stressful for you guys so far. Today we're going to talk about obviously where we're at so far in the major, look at today's results, both in the tournament and our overall results in terms of profit and loss, and then obviously hop into some picks here for tomorrow. So in terms of how teams are doing thus far, how things are kind of shaping up, etc., we've obviously seen FlyQuest and M80 become the two teams to go 3-0 here. So if you had both of those in your pick'ems, congrats to you. I definitely didn't. I had Gamer Legion and Legacy, both of which are fighting for their lives down here. Legacy not so much, but Gamer Legion definitely is. And then the two teams that went 0-3 here are Lin Vision and Rare Atom. I again didn't have either of those. I had the Huns going 0-3. They just lost to Lin Vision. They got absolutely wiped. And then I had Energy going 0-3, playing with their coach Daps, and that hasn't been the case. They obviously won their first two BO1s, but then they got crushed by M80 today. So overall, in terms of our picks that we had yesterday on the video, we did go 1-1 there. You'll notice that there's two on the screen here. We'll talk about that in a second. But the one on the right-hand side is the one that ended up coming through for us. That was M80 and FlyQuest on the money line. We got burned earlier in the day because FaZe Clan looked like absolute shit. They lost again, so they're facing elimination now tomorrow, but they did not bring that second play home with us. So if you followed yesterday's video plays, you would have gone 1-1, and you'd be up, I guess, $48 potentially if you're a $100 better, or 0.48 units. I had a couple extra plays in the Discord here. The one on the left-hand side, we're not going to be tracking in terms of the total. This has been omitted from the 4-7 total. If that was included, we'd be 5-7, and we'd be almost break even, but obviously have to do the right thing here. I kind of took that one on a flyer throughout the day. I did have another play in there that was Gamer Legion comboed with I don't even remember the set of Bait and Paravision, maybe? No, FlyQuest and Fluxo. That's who I took. FlyQuest and Fluxo over 20.5 total rounds on map 1, and that went 13-1 in favor of FlyQuest. It was an absolute beatdown, so I lost that parlay as well. I dropped 2 units there, so as such, we are down 2.72 units with a 4-7 record. Again, omitting that Gamer Legion -1.5 map spread that is not being counted in the record. If that was the case, again, we would basically be even on the tournament, but for the sake of tracking, we have to omit it from the record because I didn't post it in the channel, tag about it, so on and so forth. I just posted it in CS2 chat kind of on a flyer, so I don't think it's fair to track that one. So getting into what we are looking at here for tomorrow, let me do an HLTV refresh because they didn't have the matchups in here, but Thunderpick did like 15 minutes ago, so I was able to make some picks there. Perfect. HLTV is all updated. So again, going 3-0, that was FlyQuest and M80. And then the two teams that went 0-3 were Rare Atom and Lin Vision. That leaves us, because every team has obviously played 3 games up until this point. So that leaves us with 6 teams that are 2-1 and 6 teams that are 1-2. All of these teams are playing in potential either advancement or elimination matches tomorrow. So everything tomorrow is going to be a best of 3, which is really, really nice to see. We're out of BO1 hell, at least until stage 2. But for the time being, we have no more BO1s to worry about. That'll be the case both tomorrow and on Thursday once we get down to our 2-2 pool. So for tomorrow's matchups, we're going to see Fluxo taking on Nip. We're going to see Bait taking on Legacy. We're going to see Energy taking on fnatic. And then down in the 1-2 pool, we're going to have Red Canids and FaZe Clan. That's going to be an elimination match, believe it or not. We're going to have Paravision and Gamer Legion in a very exciting elimination match. And then we're going to have Imperial and the Huns in our 3rd elimination match. So losers of these are going home. Winners of these are advancing to the next round. So in terms of start times for tomorrow, same sort of thing that we saw today. I'll refresh this page as well, so we have all of the matchups in here. Same sort of start times as today. Obviously, only difference, instead of 8 games, we now have 6 games, and all of these are going to be best of 3, so they eliminated the 10 o'clock time slot. So we're going to have the first 2 at 9 o'clock, the next 2 are going to be at 11:30 a.m., and then the last 2 are going to be at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So let's hop over to Thunderpick. Let's see what we have on the board here for tomorrow and the winners that I have scoped out for y'all. For those of you that watch the videos regularly, you know that all of the odds that will be discussed in today's video will be on Thunderpick.io, which is one of the top books in the world for esports betting. You can deposit on Thunderpick using crypto, credit card, Apple Pay, Visa Debit, or via their new gift card deposit, which allows you to purchase and deposit a Thunderpick gift card amount directly to your balance. And Thunderpick has lines for all of your favorite esports, including but not limited to CS2, League, Dota, Valorant, Overwatch, COD, Fortnite, Rocket League, and so much more. If you visit tinyurl.com/LOCKCITYTP, you can get a 100% deposit match on your first deposit all the way up to $600 or whatever the equivalent is in your local currency. Any amount that you deposit up to $600 will get immediately matched by Thunderpick for you to be able to use for your esports picks. We've obviously been super profitable on CS2, but with that deposit bonus, you can always try your luck with some of your other favorites with that free money to play with. That's tinyurl.com/LOCKCITYTP for a 100% deposit bonus at Thunderpick up to $600. Alrighty, so we're going to have 3 plays here on the board for tomorrow. 2 are going to be our traditional 2-unit parlays. I'm just going to be going 2-leg parlays on these 2. And then I'm also going to throw in a flyer here, which is going to be, we can actually talk about this one first. It's going to be Red Canids against FaZe. I'm going to be going with Red Canids plus 1.5 map spread. This one's mostly just on vibes because FaZe has looked absolutely horrible this tournament. They should definitely not lose this matchup, but I could see them dropping a map, especially to a gritty Brazilian team here in Red Canids. So this one we won't dive into map pools, so on and so forth. I think they could probably look to upset FaZe in a very, very close one on any map regardless of what's taken here, but I'm going to be going with this one's just going to be 1 unit. Again, just going to be a flyer. Definitely leave this one off if you are not feeling it, but this tournament is kind of turning me into a little bit of a FaZe hater with this current roster. I'm going to bet on their downfall here. I'm going to be going with Red Canids plus 1.5. Still kind of hope that they lose because I do want FaZe to move forward and save my pick'ems, but I do have to play this one with my brain here and just go Red Canids plus 1.5. If I lose it, I'm just going to be losing a unit here. But again, please feel free to leave that one off if that is not your forte. The other 2 that we'll spend some actual time talking about here are going to be the 2-leg plays. So the first one that we're going to have on the board here is going to be Ninjas in Pajamas on the money line against Fluxo, and then Fnatic on the money line against Energy. So for Fluxo and Ninjas in Pajamas, again, all of these are going to be best of 3s, public consensus. This is my first time seeing it, obviously, because HLTV just updated these pages. But this is good to see that the public is also swaying in the favor of Ninjas in Pajamas. If we want to look at maps, obviously, Ninjas in Pajamas having a 0% win rate on both Mirage and Inferno doesn't look great, but they will have the potential to ban one of these maps, and I don't think Fluxo is going to pick into the other one unless they pick into Mirage, which wouldn't be... I think that would probably be a good idea. I just don't know that they'll necessarily do it. But Fluxo is going to ban Dust 2. Nip's going to be able to ban one of either Mirage or Inferno, which does leave the other one available for Fluxo to pick it. And then in terms of Nip's pick, I would imagine they're just going to pick into Ancient. Fluxo, it would be pretty stupid of them if they pick into Nuke or Train. I think those would be pretty close. Same with Overpass. I think they probably should take whichever one doesn't get banned by Nip in between Mirage and Inferno. But regardless, I think that Nip's probably going to take this 2-1. I would not be surprised if Fluxo won either Mirage or Inferno, obviously, as we're looking at 0% win rates across the board for both of these maps on the Nip side of things. And then it's advantageous for Nip that Fluxo likes to ban Dust 2 because Nip is, again, pretty horrible on that map as well. So we're going to need some combination of these bottom ones to get pulled. Nip's going to need to win at least 2, obviously, of these bottom ones. Fluxo, I would imagine, gets first map pick here, but I'm honestly not 100% sure based on these tournament seedings. But if Fluxo does get the first map pick, I wouldn't be surprised if they won the first map and Nip needs to reverse sweep here, but I'm going to be going with Ninjas in Pajamas. I think they're the deeper team. We saw a couple of nasty Kaspersky clutches today, a couple of 1v2s, a couple of 2v4s where he was able to help out and get converting kills that really helped them out in the rounds there. So I'm going to be going with Nip. I'm going to trust my gut. Nip on the money line is going to be the first leg, and then Fnatic against NRG is going to be the second one here. NRG, this sucks for me to say because they're a North American team. You always kind of want to root for them in the back of your heads, but I don't think they stand a chance here against Fnatic. Looks like the public agrees again, 73.9% for Fnatic, nearly 75% or 3/4 of the public. If we scroll down, obviously Energy still playing with their coach here. Nitro's out for the tournament. Him and his significant other, I don't know if they're married or if they're engaged or just dating, whatever the case may be there, but they had a baby, so congratulations to them. But he's out of the tournament. They've been playing with Daps. Daps has been playing well, but I think when push comes to shove here, I have to give the edge to Fnatic. If we look at the map pool, obviously Energy looks like they have the advantage here, but very important to remember that they play North American competition. They're beating up on teams like Skinrave, Maverick, Rain Above, Outfit 49, so on and so forth. So their win rates are pretty largely representative of some of those matches. And then on the Fnatic side of things, they're obviously playing better competition, both on the regional scene and when they're in these larger tournaments. In terms of bans, Fnatic is going to ban Nuke. Energy is going to ban Ancient, which takes away one of Fnatic's best maps, but I do think Fnatic's going to be able to push this one across the edge. I could see Fnatic obviously winning like a Mirage. I could see them winning Train. I could see them winning Overpass. I think Inferno and Dust 2 are probably going to be the two sketchier ones. If I was Energy, I would pick into Dust 2 here, obviously. I think they have a good chance of taking Dust 2, but if Fnatic can flip that one upside down, then they have a really, really strong chance of taking this series 2-0. I'm going to be going with Fnatic as my second leg here. So Ninjas in Pajamas and Fnatic, 1.48 and 1.50. Those two are going to come out to 2.22 times your money, and 2 units is going to pay just shy of 4.44 units. The other one that we're going to talk about here is going to be Legacy on the money line against Bait and Imperial on the money line against the Huns. I do think this Legacy and Bait match is going to be super close. I almost wanted to take the over 2.5, but based on how some of the matches went today, everything in a best of 3 was a quick 2-0. Teams have been rolling over and dying. In this sort of a situation, both of these teams can technically afford to lose a map here, or the matchup, I guess, in general, because this is the 2-1 pool. Nobody wants to lose, obviously, tomorrow. Nobody wants to drop to 2-2 and play on the final day. But all things considered, it's not the end of the world if one of these teams does drop it 0-2. And then on the Imperial and Hun side of things, this is obviously an elimination matchup. I'm going to be going with Imperial. First one that we'll talk about is going to be Legacy and Bait. So in terms of map selection, wow, this is very, very split, almost a 50-50. We got 56 and basically 44% here. In terms of map pools, we can expect Nuke to get banned. We can expect Overpass to get banned. I would imagine Legacy probably picks into Dust 2. Bait's got a pretty horrible Dust 2. And I would imagine that Bait probably picks into Mirage. Legacy plays a lot of Mirage, but Bait has a relatively strong Mirage. I don't want to say really strong, but a relatively strong Mirage. I do think Complexity takes this, though. I do think they could win Train. I think they could win Ancient. I think they definitely win Inferno, definitely win Dust 2. And I think they could win Mirage as well. So this one just sticks out to me as straight up Legacy. If you want to take Bait, if you're a Bait fan, by all means. But I'm going to be going with Legacy on the money line for this first one. And then the second one's a little bit more straightforward. It's the Huns and Imperial. I would not be surprised if the Huns won a map. They were able to win their matchup 2-0 today. If we look at public consensus, whenever you're dealing with Brazilian teams, it is typically skewed. They have really strong fan bases that come out and support their teams on HLTV, but nonetheless, we have nearly 67% for Imperial. If we want to scroll down and look at map pools, the Huns is going to ban Train, Imperial is going to ban Ancient. I think Imperial would win Overpass. I think Imperial would win Inferno. Imperial, I think, obviously wins Mirage, and Dust 2 is going to be really close. I would give the Huns the advantage on Nuke. They play a lot of Nuke. They've played it 16 times over the course of the last 3 months, and because Imperial bans Ancient, I would say almost surely the Huns is going to pick into Nuke. Again, same sort of situation. If Imperial is able to win Nuke, then they're going to be looking really good here. Obviously, when we're scrolling down here, Imperial has dropped the ball in their last 2 matchups. They did not look good at all on Train today against Fnatic, but thankfully they won't have to play Train tomorrow. That's going to get banned by the Huns. And then they didn't look good at all against FlyQuest on Inferno, but that's FlyQuest on Inferno. I do think they could probably win Inferno against the Huns. And then on the Hun side of things, we saw them lose Ancient to Bait. We saw them lose Mirage to Paravision. And then obviously they were able to get past Lin Vision today and the Battle of Basement Dwellers. So that is what it is. I don't think they have a ton of momentum coming into this one. I think Imperial is going to play a better style of CS coming into this tomorrow. I do expect Imperial to win this one. If you want to flip this, take the Huns plus 1.5, whatever you want to do, by all means, please feel free. But that's going to be the second leg that I'm rocking with on this one. So 2 units here is going to pay 4.36 roughly units. That's going to be 2.18 times your money. So these are going to be the 3 that I'm rocking with tomorrow. Again, looking to scrape back some profit here, looking to get back in the green officially in terms of the record here and in terms of tracked plays. Hopefully we can go 3-0 on these, but I wouldn't be surprised if we just pushed 2 across and the third one ended up flopping, regardless of which of the 3 it might be. So again, if you like these plays, please feel free to tell them. Be happy to tell them. If you like the content that you've been getting here, obviously feel free to subscribe, turn on post notifications, like, comment, yada, yada, yada. And then at the bottom of the screen here, discord.gg/LockCITY. We're hanging out in there all day long throughout the major. We're going to have a knife giveaway going on over in the next couple of weeks, probably for stage 3 or just going into the playoffs there. So make sure to look out for that. It's going to be important to be subscribed to the YouTube channel and be in the Discord. So if you're not either of those 2 things yet, make sure you get that situated. And we'll see y'all back here tomorrow for some more CS. Thanks for listening. Take care.